Testing one, two, testing one, two. Welcome to House Culture Conversations. Good to see everybody. Hey, there I am. And tonight I'm going to be flying solo. DJ Dewey B had to tend to some business, but I am so excited for the conversation tonight. And if you are on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook Live, share this out because it's going to be an amazing conversation about the history of the music and the culture that we love so much. Tonight we have Debbie Graham with us. Let me go ahead and bring her on. Debbie, how are you?
I am fantastic. How are you?
I am doing really well. For the folks out there, this Twitch thing has been amazing. We've had the opportunity to meet people that we wouldn't otherwise meet. And on a Tuesday night, I had the opportunity to listen to Debbie doing her thing, playing some just really deep music, deep house, and it had a different flavor to it. And so I began to follow a little bit, reached out and said, hey, I would love to learn a lot more about you and the history of house in Atlanta. So here we are. So Debbie, tell us a little bit about you, where you're from, and how you found your way to house music.
So I'm originally from Jamaica, moved here in 1980, actually moved to Texas first and went to high school there. And moved to Atlanta in 83 to go to college. Didn't really know. Of course, I always listened to disco when I was growing up in Jamaica. I was not a reggae head like most people. However, when I started off at college, I started hanging out with a few DJs that used to do reggae spots and got really interested in DJing. I've always had a strong love for music anyway, and started DJing at a reggae club. And then from there, started from like meeting, having roommates from different parts of the country, started hearing this music that I was very interested in, which happened to be house music. And that was like the first time like I heard Farley, and actually I was introduced to JM Silk, which as we know Steve Silk Curley was part of. And and so I really liked the sound then. And I was working at a record store, and my coworker was actually from Chicago. So he started bringing in a lot of, music for me to listen to, and I just fell in love with it.
That's awesome. Now, I just got some feedback. Your head is cut off. Yeah, we can't see your head from you. There you go. That's better. We can see you a little bit better.
So scoot up a little bit.
Hey, there she is. And so, you got into house music, but you're down in Atlanta, and you have a rich history of house down there in Atlanta that people may not realize.
Yeah, so everybody has their version or their story. My story regarding house music, I fell in love with it, like I said, and was able to listen to, I guess at that time it was more commercial, from working at the record store, and your reps are bringing in all kinds of music. You get all these promos and you start listening to it. So I started to actually play at home, and then I would invite friends over and say, hey, tell me what you think about this music. And everybody was getting into it. So a friend of mine said to me, hey, I know a promoter that's moving up from Miami that's going to start throwing parties, and I'm going to introduce you guys. And I guess that was it. So on the introduction, I said to her, I said, hey, if I play your first party and nobody dances, you don't have to pay me. And she said, hey, you got a deal. Well, I ended up working for her for about 3 years, and the club was packed. It really just put me on a high. So, I continued to play it, but as far as like for Atlanta at that time, late 80s, early 90s, you could only hear house music in the gay clubs.
Mm.
So, people would say to me, "Aren't you scared of going in there?" And I'm like, "Nobody's looking at me. I'm going to play the music." You know what I mean? So,
That's it. That's it.
so yeah, that's it. I just kept playing, and then people started hiring me for private events, and I would always, even though I played all genres of music, started introducing house into my sets, and people were ready for it. So
That's it. Now, why do you think house music is as popular as it's ever been? I mean, it's been around for 40 years and it's still going strong. So many different genres all around the world. Why is that?
well, I mean, I can't and I know it's a little different in Chicago, so it's still a little underground here in Atlanta.
Mm,
Um, of course, we have, House in the Park, which is our biggest house music event, where people are coming from all over the country or even out of the country to support. It's still a little underground here, but I think one of the reasons I've seen it grow a little bit, and again, this is just my opinion, you have a lot of remixers out there and they're taking, an R&B track that people can relate to, and then, they remix it, do a house version, and then it has more mass appeal, especially to the younger generation,
mm.
and I've seen that a lot. So I think that's why you kind of see it growing in terms of, in the South. So
Yeah, that's a good point. And even up north in Chicago, we have so many people that came up during the house era. We listened to rap, we listened to R&B, and to your point with those remixes now, it's like the best of all worlds. Because that is our center. House music was such a big thing for us, and so now that you've brought in some of these R&B and even some of the rap tunes and remixes, it just takes it to a whole nother level. Hey, we thank everybody for tuning in. I see you on Twitch. Don't hesitate to give us some emotes. We'll see them on the cameras here, and share that out with Debbie. If you're on Facebook Live, thank you so much. Definitely chime in if you have a question for her or you want me to ask her something. Let me know in the chat. So, Debbie, what are a couple of your favorite house memories?
so the first one I would say is back in 2001. I had the opportunity to open up for Crystal Waters at a club
Mm,
here in Atlanta called Tracks. Um, that to me was amazing because yes, I had been DJing for a while, but as we know, typically in this field, it's very male dominated. So me getting that opportunity, back then, I mean, 20 plus years ago, was definitely one that stands out with me, in terms of memories. I have so many great memories too, but that was kind of like the first thing for me.
and hey, Midas Retouch, I agree with you. That is very cool. She is a legend. I mean, the songs that we play that are Crystal Waters are timeless. We play them today just like we played them back then, and you bopping your head and you're vibing to it. What do you think about this new virtual
Most
spin? Most definitely. What do you think about this virtual spin? Twitch and streaming. What do you think about it?
So, I think those platforms actually give DJs, an outlet, or like new DJs coming up that people would have never heard of. Like for you, you never heard of me ever, even though I've been playing for almost 40 years and I've played in Chicago numerous times. But I think especially during COVID, because I've been live streaming even prior to COVID,
Oh, wow.
and on various internet sites. But obviously during COVID, you know, you had more of an audience because people were afraid to go out and do anything. It wasn't safe to be out there. So the next best thing was, you know, boot up your computer and watch a DJ. And if you didn't like that DJ, you just move on to the next one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I really think it does, give people an opportunity to put themselves out there, and for other people to see, you know, some of the other talent, some of the hidden talent, shall we
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So, do you think it's here to stay? As we get back out, do you think streaming will continue and Twitch will still be a platform where DJs can be recognized?
I still think people will continue to use Twitch in terms of traffic flow, getting people into the chat room. That might be a little bit more challenging, but I think if you love playing, whether you're playing for yourself or an audience, and that's one of your outlets, I think people will still continue to use that platform.
Yeah, I think you're right, and you're also a music maker. Tell us a little bit about your music production.
So I actually thought about getting into production maybe 5 years ago, and had just been sitting on all this equipment, and was really afraid to put anything out because I was just like, I'm the only one that's gonna like this stuff. But um, I guess probably late last year, I decided, hey, just start putting things out, and then even if you're still learning, just try to improve on the next track. And I do want to give a shout out to Kai Alcé, because Kai kept pushing me and saying, Deb, you just got to put stuff out. You know, he said, somebody's going to like it. Just keep putting stuff out. And so I've taken the bull by the horns, and started putting tracks out, and just released my fourth track yesterday.
Now, where can people find this music?
So my music is being streamed on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music. You can also purchase it on Bandcamp. So that's debbiegraham.bandcamp.com. You could easily access the link through my Instagram page, Debbie Graham ATL. And I do have the link in my bio.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, you've been at this for 30, 40 years. Opening for Crystal Waters, hard to beat, but I know you got another story you'd love to share with us.
Yeah, so there are a few stories where I've had the opportunity to play with people that I really respect in the business. I've been on tickets with Kenny Bobian, Alan King from your neck of the woods, and also in 2018 I had the opportunity to play with Jesse Saunders.
Oh, wow.
So
What a treat.
those have been kind of the highlights. But I do have a funny story about 3 years, well, more than 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. I went to North Carolina to Charlotte to play a venue there, and did not realize that Wayne Williams was sitting at the bar. And when I got there, we had a little bit of an issue. I'm used to playing on CDJs or turntables, But when I got there was a controller, and I just kind of like did not know what to do. Anyway, we made it work. I stuck my drive in someone's computer, and was just praying that it would read the songs that I had on the drive. Well, it ended up working out. I didn't get everything, but I got a few songs and started playing. And then I looked up and I saw Wayne Williams, and he was doing this with his finger, like and after I finished playing, he walked up to me and he's like, "Where have you been?" And I took that to mean that he really enjoyed my set, and I just thought it was kind of funny because I was kind of freaking out trying to figure out what I was going to play, but it ended up working out in the end. So,
Yeah, well, hey, I tell you what, no better compliment than the man himself, Wayne Williams, founder of the Chosen Few DJs. It's an incredible compliment, and that's an incredible story. Now, I have to ask you, it's Women's History Month. I have to ask you, as a woman DJ, you know, how has that been for you? And what do you tell DJs today? Who I think we have a number of women DJs now that are bursting on the scene.
yeah, so I mean, it's no secret. It still is a little bit difficult for us. Typically, if you get hired, you're typically hired as an opening DJ. Whether you can bang out or not. Um, but on occasions like that, depending on the lineup and how familiar I am with maybe the promoter, I kind of like say to them, hey, maybe you should look at it a little different, maybe put the female in the middle. Sometimes you can have them closing, you know. But as far as new DJs coming up, I tell them, I said, if you really love this thing, just stick to it, know your worth and keep pushing forward. And
Hey,
people will start to recognize that.
hey, Debbie, that's a message. Whether you're a DJ or not, ladies, just keep doing your thing. And those that need to hear your message, need to connect with your vibe and your grooves, they'll connect with you. I think that's great advice. But it has been a challenge, and I know you back in the day. It had to be extremely difficult. It's a little easier, but we still have challenges and some work to do to make sure women DJs are getting recognized at full measure, right? Because I know, to your point, there's a lot of women DJs that can rock out, and that's why I
Almost.
listened to you. I listened to you, and I was like, she is killing it. Who is she? And I just had to reach out, had to learn more about you, and I'm looking forward, even beyond this, to just hang out and learn more about each other because I actually stream on Tuesday too. So that's why I was on there. I was on there a little early because I was streaming a little bit later that night, and just was really blown away by your talent, by your song selection, and the way you just kind of put the vibe together is really an experience for me.
Thank you. Thank you.
So where do you think this thing is headed? So we've got this virtual thing, we've got streaming, and we've got moderators, we've got all the excitement in the chat now has become your audience. That's how you get the energy now, is through the chat. But where is all this headed, Debbie?
I mean, like I said before, I really think, the virtual platform has been really good for a lot of new DJs coming up. I, for me, I'm going to play the same way for one person as I am for, 300 people in a room. So, It's just, I play and I feel something, and then I just take it to another level, kind of thing.
I love that.
Um, for me, I do enjoy, me personally, I do enjoy the virtual space. Um, Not more so than playing out live, but whenever things kind of slow down for me, that's my outlet.
Yeah.
I do the virtual thing and just get it out of my system. But I definitely love playing live. And things are, now that, I mean, COVID obviously is still around, but people are a little bit more free to go and do things if they want to go out. And so, over the past, I want to say past 6 months, I mean, things have really been picking up. And, I've been playing all over the country. So, I'm appreciative to everyone who kind of, reached out to me and said, hey, we want you to play. And I'm not opening anymore, which is the good thing.
That is a great thing. Hey, Midas Retouch, we appreciate the follow for Debbie on Bandcamp. And if you're watching live or you are watching on a replay, go out, support the artist, Debbie Graham on Bandcamp, or check out her music on all major platforms, Spotify, etc., Apple Music, etc. Debbie, this has been fantastic. If you had to give someone a 2-minute masterclass on how to approach being a DJ in a modern age, what would you tell them?
I would say find a mentor and, really pay attention to that mentor. Um, Take constructive criticism and don't get upset about, if someone says, hey, in your transitions, maybe you can do this or that, look at it as constructive criticism. One thing I would also encourage DJs to learn is make sure your sound is correct, because no
Mm,
matter how great the music is, if your sound is not good, that turns people off. You don't want it too loud, you don't want it too soft, and you definitely don't want it distorted.
mm, mm.
That's one of the
That's
things
good.
that I'm seeing. A lot of newer DJs, they don't know anything about sound. They don't even know how to hook their equipment up. I mean, these are the basics that I learned before I was even let into the DJ booth.
Yeah.
It's like you've gotta know how to wire this up, do a sound check, make sure that everything's on point before you start playing.
Oh, that's really good advice. Hey, that bears underscoring. And one other thing, in terms of music, what are your thoughts about the various genres? Whether it's more of the pop scene getting into house, like Beyonce, or even Drake, or a lot of other artists, and the proliferation. Do you think that's good for house music?
I think it does open some doors. We all know the story that Beyonce brought house back, quote unquote. But for us house heads, house never went anywhere. But I've people that I know personally that they weren't big house music fans. Their eyes open up. They're like, oh wow, this is what house is, or similar to. And I'm like, yeah. So I think it's you know it's crossing over more into territory that probably our old school house music, or even some of the newer house tracks that are coming out, people wouldn't normally listen to them. And
Yeah.
I think the Rihannas, the Drakes, etc. They're introducing that to the masses.
DJ
I see
DCR.
DCR is on.
Yeah, yeah. He said he was so late, but hey, you're always on time, DJ DCR. Absolutely. So hey,
Good guy.
hey, that is a good brother. Another friend that I've met in this Twitch world that we have created here, and I just love him to death. He's a really good brother. So, what do you have coming up? When are you on? When can people check you out? Just kind of give us what's upcoming for you.
So typically, I do my Tuesday show on Twitch under DJ Debbie Graham if they're trying to find me. I do have a few gigs coming up, in the next couple of months, and including for the first time, I will be in Barcelona and Ibiza, uh, banging some beats. So I'm looking
That
forward to that.
that sounds incredible. That oh my gosh, when is that?
That's going to be third week of June, and
Mhm.
I will be there until first week of July.
Wow. Well, hey, all the best as you go down that road and keep rocking out and rock Jack in the Box that you have been just so committed to over the years. What keeps you going?
Um, I don't know. I guess it's just a true love for music. Always grew up around a lot of music. My dad was actually a professional dancer, and so we always had music pumping through the house. And throughout the years with his travels to Europe, he would bring music back, and I would sneak around and play music. So I think just that love that I have for music keeps me going. um, I also have a pretty stressful daytime job, so music is my outlet. So
Hmm.
no matter how tired I am, I'm I'll struggle up the stairs and start playing some tunes. So
So it looks like DJ
just
DCI is
motivation.
that is awesome, and it looks like DJ DCI is going to pick it up after you head back from Ibiza. He's going to be out there around May or so.
Yeah, he's there before me. Yeah, I think he's before. He's actually going to be there before me.
Okay, you're
I
in
told him we
June.
should have coordinated. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, hey, thank you so much. This has been amazing. The conversation. And we see you guys out there on Twitch. We see you on Facebook Live and YouTube. We appreciate you so much for hanging out with us. And our guest today, which has been DJ Debbie Graham. And you can check her out on Instagram at DJ Debbie Graham ATL. And then also check her out on Twitch. And Twitch, you're DJ Debbie Graham, right?
Correct.
All
That's
right.
correct.
Well, hey, I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. And one other thing, for all of you who love music, just go ahead and click follow for DJ Debbie Graham. The curation is impeccable. The music will have you grooving and just it's incredible. It's an incredible experience. I trust you guys will check her out and look forward to seeing you really soon, Debbie Graham.
Thanks, Derek, and definitely thank you for the invite. I was pretty excited about it. So thanks so much.
Yes,
And always thank you for tuning in Tuesdays.
you bet. We'll see you soon. Hey, take care, everybody. We'll see you next time on House Culture Conversations. Peace.
Thank you.